Is it also called a rotary wheel?
No. Alright.
Or is it called again?
So go ahead and just pin so you don't have anything moving on you. The only thing that you're going to have to trace are the 2 outer circles. Stay on the line. And you go all the way around. The last thing that we have to do, the last pattern piece, so we've got 2 of our pattern pieces done, right? Flip on the back side, you've already traced through when you pounced. So the top of the beret, here's that midsection that connects the top to the band. And you're like, brilliant, see how good I am already? I'm like, yes, 2 of your 3 done. So now we have that final last piece. So you're going to find what your head circumference is. Remember that from way back with our E's already in it. In this case it was 22. So I'm not a person who really enjoys doing a lot of math in my head, especially when it's actually being filmed, because then you have like mistakes and they're on tape. So I'm going to take my 22 inches, I'm going to bring the front of the tape measure to that 22 mark, and I'm just going to fold it in half. You're like, yes, but you should know it's 11. Okay, that's cool. That's fine, but now you're going to make sure you put it in quarters as well. So you want that measure. It just becomes a lot easier. Especially if you have one that's like, I'm 22 and a quarter, or I'm 22 and like 5/8. Unless you really, really feel adventurous, I would just do my fold method. Okay, so 5 1/2 and 11. So we're going to go ahead and we're going to use this reference mark. You're going to do it on your folded edge. So starting here, we're going to write CF next to it. And CF stands for center front. So 11 inches away, I'm going to make a mark. 11 inches the other way, I'm going to make another mark. Then I'm going to do it at 5 1/2. And 5 1/2 the other way. So now I have quarter marks for that entire. So now we have to start thinking about how deep we want this band, right? How much band do you want showing? In this case, I'm just going to choose an inch. So, right on the fold, I line up my inch mark, and I draw my line. Cool. And then just continue that line. So here's our end, and you want to make sure this is nice and square. So we line it up on the fold, and go up. And you're going to do that for each of those little hash marks that you made. Each of the quarter marks. So now that we have this, we have to add our seam allowances. And your seam allowance is what for this project?
An inch.
Half inch. Let's go ahead and just... Alright. Here at the back, we're going to put a CB. What do you think that stands for? Okay. So why am I putting the seam? Why do I want that on center back?
So it's not like right in the
Exactly. Most people don't like to see seam lines like right up in the front. So we go ahead and we hide it. We shift it as far back as we can. So our center front, our center back. Do you notice anything else when we look at this pattern piece and this pattern piece? We've already got it divided into quarters. And you already have your circle also divided into quarters. We'll be matching this. Actually, I'm going to call this one center front. And this one will be my center back. Okay, so now you know how it's going to be oriented, right? I'm going to match my center front to my center front mark, my side to my side, side to side, and center back seam once you have it sewn to the center back. So everybody got that? Good. So you've already marked it. Brilliant. So now, what you'll do is pounce. The reason we did this on the fold is because you want the mirror image. So if I'm pouncing through one, I'm marking it on the other side as well. So why am I not worried about marking this outer line, our seam allowance line? Because when I cut this out, we've already marked it, right? Why make extra work for myself? Excellent. Okay. The other thing that we have to talk about is grain line and marking that grain line. So this would be another section about grain. Sorry? How do you find it?
You line up the fab.
Sorry? Hold on, so how do you find the grain?
It's the salvage edge.
Right. That manufactured edge? It's really easy to see here. That's the salvage. Okay? The grain line is always going to run parallel to the salvage. Just keep that in mind and everything will be good. So when we want to mark this grain line, I actually want to cut this on the bias. It just falls better, it looks nicer. So what you will do, you see how our ruler is divided into little squares? Okay. I am going to take one of the squares, the outside edge goes on your center point, and then you put the other point of that square on your line as well. This will give you the 45 degrees. Does everybody see that? This point and this point?
Oh, okay.
On your reference line. Okay. And remember how we note it? With a point, an arrowhead at both ends. Okay. You'll do the same on the other side, except you'll make it one long line because it's one uninterrupted piece. What about our band? Does it have a grain?
I would assume so.
It does. We're going to go ahead and put it on center front. Okay. And the grain line, because this piece will be folded in half. So this is our finished. This is what it'll look like when it's finished. On the back side, it'll be nice and clean finished as well. All right? Perfect. So our grain line is going to run right along our center front line. You good? Excellent. All right.